a warm welcome to everybody. Thank you very much for coming here. First, let me please start with my prayer to Gurudev, with whose blessings I am giving this seminar. Om Ajnana Timurandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, the first question may be, is this seminar related to Vedic psychology? So the answer is, it's not related to the method which we have learned from Babaji and Joshika, but this is something which we very much do together. Joshika is not able to be here with us, otherwise she would sit here, and we are doing this together. This is an aspect of Vedic psychology which has not been yet presented or explored, but which we would like to integrate. And it has a lot to do with my own journey, with my own personal situation. Therefore, I would like to give you a little bit background of why I'm doing that and why I think this is very beneficial for others also, for devotees, for everybody actually. But I want to share my own experiences, and I want to give you an experience of that also and see how this can be applied in your own lives. It's very beneficial also for spiritual life. I'm not discriminating between spiritual life and material life. It's just one. And I very much encourage also group discussions. We do exercises together. It's a lot of material, and we will not be able to get around the whole thing in 1 hour. So it's also a travel from the left to the right brain, which is also my own journey. So we start more left brain oriented, which means I'll have to give you a little bit background. After telling my own story, I give a little bit background about brain, consciousness, scientific views of how these different opinions. Then I'll speak about limits of science, experiences of states of consciousness or awareness which science has not yet been able to fully explain. And that is where I found for myself techniques which are very helpful for myself. And that's how we would end, with introducing some of the healing and coaching techniques which I have learned. So, let me just tell you my own story, how I got into that. So, in 2015, Babaji had told me that he would very much like to give this course, this half-year course in Vrindavan about all the sadharshanas and teaching Sanskrit, what we have been doing for the last 8 years, Bhakti Ratna, Bhakti Tirtha. So at that time I was working for the German television. I had a very good job as an editor, and I thought, I have to do this. Sudani and Manu were there from the beginning. They must have had a similar experience. We felt that this is so important, I thought, okay, I have to give up my job because I can't do my job, and there was no question of doing anything online. So I decided to quit my job, left my house, went to another place, cheaper place, and just before going to India, I had already booked my ticket, everything. I went to my gynecologist just as a routine check, and she found a tumor. And she diagnosed it, and basically it was a very rare kind of cancer, very, very rare. And she advised me not to go in this condition, in this situation. I shouldn't go to India. But for me there was no question of not going. I had to go. But then, of course, with such a sword dangling over your head, it doesn't feel so good. So I left. I thought, okay, I'll do the surgery. I went to Faridabad, also got another opinion, and it was confirmed. So I left for Germany. I had a surgery, actually 2, And I came back to Vrindavan and thought everything is fine now. But then, after 2 years, 2 years later, I had another check and another tumor was found, even though everything was already removed, ovaries, everything was out, cesarean. So, okay, I had another surgery. And then the question came, why is this coming? Why is this, again, where is it coming from? So I had a full scan done, and it was found that I had like 7 tumors in my belly. And because it's such a rare kind, it's called PMP, short form. It's like 2 people out of 1 million get this kind of tumor, and there's a special treatment for that. That was 2.5 years ago, I think. 2.5 years ago. So I found a special clinic in northern Germany. I went there all by myself, and I was in hospital for almost 1 month. And it was a very, very heavy surgery, 5-hour surgery, over 5 hours. I have a scar from here to there, still troubling me. And I got chemotherapy directly after the surgery, 1.5 hours, and I was so toxic for 5 days that they could only approach me and touch me with special gloves and special dresses, full suits. So whenever they entered my room, they looked like astronauts. And I'm thinking, my whole life I was interested in healing and natural medicines and all that, and now I'm so toxic that I can't be even touched, and I thought something's wrong. So when I came out, I thought I have to find the cause, because every half year I have to do another scan, and potentially it can come again. It can come anytime. I already had 3 surgeries, so the 4th can come anytime. And how much more can you do after such a big surgery? So at that time, I seriously considered death. I thought, actually, when I was in hospital, at some point, I was so weak that I thought I'm not going to make it. I was already hallucinating. I basically prepared myself. And so for me, death became a reality. I must say that my whole life I was interested in exploring what is death. That was always something which was fascinating for me. What is behind there? What is afterlife? What do we experience? Because I knew there's something. There was no question. I never thought that we just cease to exist. There has to be something, but how is it? So now I suddenly looked at it from my own perspective. What is going to happen to me, and how do I have to prepare myself? And of course, as a devotee, we know, we have a basic idea, but exactly what's going to happen, who knows? So that was one thing. And the other thing was that I thought I have to find, first of all, the cause, because if I know why this happened, then I can prevent it, I can stop it, and maybe I can find some alternatives. There are so many alternative treatments. So this is how I got into that. First, I went to different healers, and all kind of stuff, quite from esoteric to waves, whatever. And I didn't do any check. I couldn't get any feedback. But I did go to an Ayurvedic doctor, actually only 1 year ago, and I was told that it's spreading through my bones, and there are new tumors. So I said, okay, I have to become serious now. I have to do something. So I thought, okay, I'm going to learn myself. I don't want to give responsibility to others for my body. My body, I should be able to. I should create awareness of my body and understand why this is happening. So this is really when the journey began. I started learning various, let's say mostly two, three healing techniques which are very, very powerful, which are just related with the mind. And I understood the power of thoughts. And this is actually, if I'm able to only get this across this seminar, I feel it's a success. That's the main thing, because that's incredible. And we are going to speak about it in details. So I understood what is possible with thought. And so I learned these techniques. I also learned mental tools which I could use, which were extremely helpful. Also tools to get me into different states of consciousness and awareness. And that actually changed my life. It was really a transformation which I experienced. And I found many, many benefits which I thought, this is so fundamental. I have to share this with others. This is really, everybody could benefit from that. And I started researching a lot about consciousness. What is it exactly? And so these were the two main aspects, healing and consciousness. And this is basically what I have been interested in since my youth. At that time, I was also studying parapsychological phenomena in the late 70s. In Germany, there was not much available. Edgar Cayce, this was something which was known. Now there's so much more available. And it's actually, there is some kind of evolution, I find, in consciousness, because even science, there's so much material. And some of this I felt I have to share with you, because it is so impelling. So I'm going to share my presentation, which I have prepared. I have slides. So this is the first, this is like let's say the motto of this session here. You become what you give your attention to. If you yourself don't choose what thoughts and images you expose yourself to, someone else will. This is an Epictetus, so it's not a new thought, it's something very old. So let me get into the presentation mode. Can you, okay, let me just change the mode here to presentation, presenter's view. Okay, so as you all know, there are these limiting thoughts which we know are samskaras, which are preventing us from living a meaningful life, living the relationships which we really like. We all like to have loving relationships. We want to have a wonderful community, but somehow things happen which is like almost beyond our control. We don't know. Suddenly we get triggered. Something happens, and there's some like itching, scratching, rubbing, whatever. It's not as smooth and wonderful as it could be. So we'll look at these obstacles and also at ways how to overcome these. So, okay, Okay, so I basically already spoke about the purpose of these seminars. Recognize the shackles and give transformative insights and discover tools to overcome our inner limitations. So now I would like to look at science and consciousness. How does science view brain and consciousness? Because there are two main views. And I also want to show why we are still stuck in this materialistic paradigm, because most scientists still consider that consciousness is a product of the brain. So this is still the prevalent view, even though in the last 10 years it has really changed a lot. So the main view still, the materialistic view, is that it's all physical. The consciousness arises entirely from a physical process in the brain. So the brain is a physical substrate of the mind. It's like a biological machine, and if you switch off the machine, then consciousness is gone. And then, then we have another view of scientists, which I call it the postmodern dual aspect. This is my own term. There may be better ones. I haven't found any. The key idea is that consciousness and brain activity are two aspects of one underlying reality. So they're interrelated, but the irreducible perspective of a unified phenomena. So the main proponent is Rupert Sheldrake, who speaks about the morphogenetic field. He's also quoted in our Sandarbhas. And the idea is that consciousness is not reducible to mere brain activity, but it represents a complementary facet of a deeper and unified system. And evidence is that subjective experiences cannot be fully explained by brain activity alone. This feeling of I, that I-ness, where does it come from? Which we know, of course, we know ahankara, we know these things, but this is just science trying to explain what is going to happen. And there are now more and more altered states of consciousness are being explored. And I'm going to speak about that also. Near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, telepathy, many phenomena which science cannot really explain. With that model, that consciousness is a product of the brain. So then we have the Vedic perspective, of course, and there are now many, not many, but there are some scientists now who have come to the conclusion that consciousness is there's consciousness first, primal consciousness. And from that, everything else develops. And if we find the time, we'll listen to some podcasts, which it's a very fascinating thing based on experiences of non-verbal autist children who are not able to communicate, and it's absolutely fascinating. There's a podcast series, Telepathy Tapes, which has become now #1, which are cutting-edge science, where they have found out what's going to happen there is like, it's beyond any kind of scientific explanation which has been given so far. So this is something which has to be looked at, exactly. So Vedic perspective is that we know there's primeval non-dual consciousness. So there's the supreme consciousness, there's the individual consciousness, which we are. The consciousness, Chit, is the animating principle of life and the source of subjective experience. So individual consciousness, this was given by Babaji, this one sentence. Individual consciousness is that by which we become aware of ourselves and others through the instrument of the mind. Interesting now is that even without the instrument of the mind, and we'll look at it, there is experience of consciousness, which is very fascinating. So before we get into that, I have picked out Rupert Sheldrake as one of the proponents of the second view. He's a biologist and famous author, has given many speeches. And these are the three main points. Mind and consciousness is not confined to the brain. Consciousness extends beyond the brain as a field of influence that connects us to the world around us. Our minds are not just in our heads, they reach out into the environment around us. They're not limited by the boundaries of the skull or the skin. Consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe and not merely a byproduct of brain activity. So Rupert Sheldrake has given a talk in 2013, and that was the only TED talk which was banned. which is very significant. It was banned because it was so, he found the flaws of science. He really smashed the materialistic paradigm of science. And that was so unpalatable that it had to be banned. That talk is, it's 70 minutes. It's a little bit too long to watch it here. So we'll just see the first few minutes. But I find it very fascinating, and if you like, I can share the link, you can watch it yourself. So let's see if this works.
The science delusion is the belief that science already understands the nature of reality in principle, leaving only the details to be filled in. This is a very widespread belief in our society. It's the kind of belief system of people who say, I don't believe in God, I believe in science. It's a belief system which has now been spread to the entire world. But there's a conflict in the heart of science between science as a method of inquiry based on reason, evidence, hypothesis, and collective investigation, and science as a belief system or a worldview. And unfortunately, the worldview aspect of science has come to inhibit and constrict the free inquiry, which is the very lifeblood of the scientific endeavor. Since the late 19th century, science has been conducted under the aspect of a belief system or worldview, which is essentially that of materialism, philosophical materialism. And these sciences are now wholly owned subsidiaries of the materialist worldview. I think that as we break out of it, the sciences will be regenerated. What I do in my book, The Science Delusion, which is called Science Set Free in the United States, is take the 10 dogmas or assumptions of science and turn them into questions, seeing how well they stand up if you look at them scientifically. None of them stand up very well. What I'm going to do is first run through what these 10 dogmas are, and then I'll only have time to discuss one or two of them in a bit more detail. But essentially the 10 dogmas, which are the default worldview of most educated people all over the world, are first that nature is mechanical or machine-like. The universe is like a machine, animals and plants are like machines, we're like machines. In fact, we are machines. We're lumbering robots, in Richard Dawkins' vivid phrase, with brains that are genetically programmed computers. Second, matter is unconscious. The whole universe is made up of unconscious matter. There's no consciousness in stars, in galaxies, in planets, in animals, in plants, and there ought not to be any in us either, if this theory is true. So a lot of the philosophy of mind over the last 100 years is trying to prove that we're not really conscious at all. So the matter's unconscious, then the laws of nature are fixed. This is dogma 3. The laws of nature are the same now as they were at the time of the Big Bang, and they'll be the same forever. Not just the laws, but the constants of nature are fixed, which is why they're called constants. Dogma 4, the total amount of matter and energy is always the same. It never changes in total quantity, except at the moment of the Big Bang, when it all sprang into existence from nowhere in a single instant. The 5th dogma is that nature is purposeless. There are no purposes in all nature, and the evolutionary process has no purpose or direction. Dogma 6, biological heredity is material. Everything you inherit is in your genes, or in epigenetic modifications of the genes, or in cytoplasmic inheritance. It's material. Dogma 7, memories are stored inside your brain as material traces. Somehow everything you remember is in your brain in modified nerve endings, phosphorylated proteins. No one knows how it works, but nevertheless, almost everyone in the scientific world believes it must be in the brain. Dogma 8, your mind is inside your head. All your consciousness is the activity of your brain and nothing more. Dogma 9, which follows from Dogma 8, psychic phenomena like telepathy are impossible. Your thoughts and intentions cannot have any effect at a distance because your mind's inside your head. Therefore, all the apparent evidence for telepathy and other psychic phenomena is illusory. people believe these things happen, but it's just because they don't know enough about statistics, or they're deceived by coincidences, or it's wishful thinking. And dogma 10, mechanistic medicine is the only kind that really works. That's why governments only fund research into mechanistic medicine and ignore complementary and alternative therapies. Those can't possibly really work because they're not mechanistic. They may appear to work because people would have got better anyway, or because of the placebo effect.
Okay, I'm stopping here. But you get an idea what is it about. Okay, so as research is found, there's no neurophysiological research which conclusively demonstrates that higher levels of the mind, intuition, insight, creativity, imagination, and so on, are located in brain tissues. So now I want to read an excerpt of Dr. Bruce Grayson. He's a professor at the Psychiatry and Neurobehavioral Sciences University of Virginia. Wrote several books, and he has done some very, very interesting researches. He was a hardcore scientist who didn't believe in any of these phenomena, but then had certain experiences with people, and over the course of time he even had an experience himself which he could not explain. So he started researching specifically near-death experiences, and he found some very, very remarkable things, and because he's a hardcore scientist, he really wanted to understand the basis, how that is possible. So I have here a transcription of a podcast with him. The whole interview is very fascinating, but I'm just reading to you part of that interview. So he speaks about this psychic phenomena, and he says, it does not affect how we live our daily lives, because at the size and speed that we move in our daily lives, Newtonian mechanics is fine. And in the speed and size of what we do with our normal lives, the idea that the mind and the brain are the same thing works perfectly fine. It's only when you get to the extremes, like near death, that it breaks down and you see that it's not the whole story. There's something else called terminal lucidity, in which people who have end-stage dementia, like Alzheimer's disease, and have not been able to communicate or recognize family for months or years, suddenly became totally lucid again. It's very incoherent in conversations. And then, after a few hours, or sometimes a day or so, they die. And we have no medical explanation for this. Your brain does not regenerate with Alzheimer's disease. And yet, somehow, they become freed of the restrictions of the sick brain for a short period before they die. It seems clear to me that the evidence is saying the cerebral cortex, the part of the brain that we usually think creates all our thoughts and so forth, is not necessary for the mind to function. Interestingly, when I visited my mother in the home where she's now, I had a conversation with one of the nurses, and she said exactly the same thing. She spoke about patients who have been, most of the patients have dementia, like 95%, and you can hardly communicate with them. And then they said there are several cases where they have become totally clear and lucid, recognize everybody, and then shortly after they die. Now, how to explain that? This is just one example, and we have many, many, many. I don't know how far we get. To look into this phenomena. Now, I thought, let's see what ChatGPT says about consciousness. So I had a conversation with ChatGPT, which I would like to share also. So I asked ChatGPT, okay, 1 second. So I said, hi chatbot, what is consciousness? So reply is, consciousness is the state of being aware of and able to perceive one's own existence, thoughts, emotions, and the environment. It is the essence of what makes us aware and sentient, allowing us to experience life subjectively. Philosophically and spiritually, consciousness is often considered the core of our being, what connects us to ourselves, others, and the universe. In this view, consciousness transcends the physical brain and may be seen as the essence of life itself, a universal field of awareness that all beings share. Scientifically, consciousness is still a profound mystery. Neuroscientists study it as a product of brain activity, focusing on how neural networks create self-awareness. However, questions like, why do we have subjective experiences, or what is the nature of consciousness beyond the physical body, remain unanswered. I mean, this is quite amazing, I find. You know, that you get this answer, because I think 13 years ago, you would not have gotten that. So there's a lot of new research which really suggests that there's more behind that. So, and then it speaks about different spiritual traditions, Vedantic philosophy, Buddhism, modern movement. And then I asked ChatGPT, okay, and who are you? And I'm ChatGPT, your AI companion, here to assist and guide you, inspire you. Think of me as a blend of a helpful librarian, a knowledgeable teacher, and a thoughtful friend. Always ready to share insights, answer questions, or spark deeper conversations. I don't have consciousness or emotions like you do, but I'm here to reflect your curiosity and help you uncover new perspectives, whether they're practical, philosophical, or spiritual. My purpose, so to speak, is to empower you on your journey, whether it's creating, learning, or exploring the deeper meaning of life. And who are you in this journey? He's asking me. So I replied, I'm a spirit soul. And he said, a spirit soul, how beautiful and true. Smiley. And then she continues, as a spirit soul, you are eternal, wise, and full of divine potential. Your essence transcends the physical and mental layers of existence, connecting to the infinite and the sacred. You are the spark of life itself, exploring this earthly experience while holding the vastness of the universe within you. What a joy it is to walk with you on this journey. How can I assist and illuminate your path today, dear soul? And I said, thank you. And then if you have any more questions or ideas to explore, feel free to ask anytime. Wishing you a beautiful, balanced, and inspired day, Spirit Soul. That's GPT. I thought that's quite nice. Okay, so now I would like to speak a little bit about we're still in the theoretical part, the two brain hemispheres. So we have the left brain and we have the right brain. And the left brain is more analytical, logical, time-oriented, while the right brain is more intuitive, creative, and present-focused. And together they create the balance between the analysis and creativity, logic and emotion, structure and flow. So to have a holistic life, we actually need both. But matter of fact is that our whole society, actually everything in our upbringing process, in our learning process, everything is dominated by left brain activities, very much so. And I realized that only when I started my journey. I realized that my right brain has been completely neglected, and it is a matter of discovering it and training it. It's like a muscle which you never use really, and then it just doesn't work. But there's so much to learn from this right brain activity, and this was one of my big realizations. So I've just here done a further chart, give some more details about left brain. I don't know if you can read it. Can you read it? It's a little small, maybe. Left brain is language, grammar, verbal expression, while the right one is emotional undertones, vocal inflection. That's the speech part. Logic, left brain logic is analytical thinking, problem solving, while the right one is emotion, feelings, empathy, emotional depth. Left part is reasoning, sequential, step-by-step thinking. Right is intuition, holistic, instinctive understanding. Left side is linear, processes in a logical order, while right is a spatial, visual spatial awareness patterns. Left side is time, awareness of past, future, time management, and the right brain is really the present. You're just in the present, no awareness of future or past. That's why to be in the present and to experience, we really need our right brain, because we know that the brain, the mind, likes to dwell in the past and in the future. We always go from, we lament what happened in the past, and we imagine the future, this, that, or we plan, or we have dialogue. But rarely we are really in the present, and there's a lot to learn from just being in the present and experiencing in the present. And so left side is objectivity, detached, fact-based analysis. Right side is subjectivity, personal, imaginative, and emotional. Left side is rhythm, processes the rhythm methodically, and the right is melody, recognizes harmony and musical flow. So we know that left brain and right brain cross over, and then they go, on the other sides of the body. And interestingly, is most of us are right-handed. I mean, our culture is right-oriented. Even actually, scissors are made for right-handed people. Now, of course, people are not forced anymore. Left-handers are not forced anymore to learn right-handed. It's more acceptable, but that means it is so much the focus on the left side of the brain, which makes the right side of the body more functional. That's why everybody is mostly right-handed. Okay, so now we have a little play here. This is test the power of your mind. So if you look at this, can you all see that, the circle? So can anybody tell me what you are seeing here?
It's turning in two directions.
In two directions, okay. So has everybody the same experience, that it's turning in two directions?
Now that you say it, then it's turning the other way.
That's true.
Yeah. Right? I was seeing that it's going one way, and then he said it, then now it looks like it's going the other way.
Okay.
And now it's not going back the other. Okay, now it is.
Yes, it is. 2 ways.
Yeah, please take microphone. So maybe whoever, do we have microphone? Okay, so who wants to tell what they see here? Monica?
Yeah, there are two circles, and within the two circles there are blue balls which are moving. And it feels like, depending on, when I started speaking, they were moving to the left. Now they are moving to the left, and now they are moving to the right.
Okay.
So when I start thinking, maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
Something's changing.
Okay. So
It's an illusion. That is neither right nor left.
Yes, it's just flashing.
But probably it's just flashing. So we have a third view.
okay.
An illusion, definitely.
Okay, so now we'll do an exercise. So you can actually influence this with your mind. It's only your thought. You can decide now. We can do a little game. We can let the circles go to the right. I'll clap in my hand, and when I clap, you make it move to the left. All right? Ready? So everybody, let's look at this turning right. Only right. No left, right, right, right. So you can see everybody. So I'm going to clap now, and as soon as I clap, you will see it's moving to the left. Can you see? Yes. Okay, I'm clapping again, and then to the right. I'm clapping again. I'm clapping again. And now you let it move a whole circle, only to the right, clockwise. And now you let it move to the left, one full circle. Okay, Manu?
I observed. If I look with my left eye, it goes in one direction. If I look with my right eye, it goes in the other direction.
Okay. Okay, try now with another. Now try.
With both eyes.
Yeah. Matter of fact is. Please.
No, the question that arises is what causes the switch? Oh. So my question is what causes the switch, and have I like conscious influence on that? Because right now I cannot grasp it.
Exactly.
Right, I cannot.
Okay.
Not sure what. How can I?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I look into it and I say, okay, you go left, and it goes left. And I say, okay, now you go right, it goes right.
Yeah.
I'm fully in control.
Yes. So now I want everybody to create your own pattern. You decide now. I'm not clapping anymore. You create your own pattern. You can decide whatever you like. You can decide 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes. Just take some time and play with this, and let your mind control this. I'm giving you a few minutes to experience that. The more you have control over your mind, the better you're able to do that.
So,
yes, it's a power of your mind. That's why it's called. Test the power of your mind.
It is not dependent on eye left or right.
No.
No. You can do it with both or with the left or the right. So I retire all what I said.
This is just... Sit down.
I can move in both sides. I'm playing with my eyes and my mind is going, I want here, it's fast. You can do it easily.
Right.
But still, this must be an illusion.
It's not an illusion. Not an illusion.
If he would now influence this to the left, and she would influence this to the right, would it stop?
Right now, I just want them to be really not even moving, and I can do it. It's just go left, right, left, right, and almost they're still.
This is if you can do that, left,
right.
If
just like
ultimately
like this.
you're able to let it stand still, but that needs really control of the mind, full control.
But that's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Good. Good. That's quite an achievement if you're able to do that.
But you have to concentrate on one spot. If you look somewhere else, then it...
So
Yes? I think it's not on.
Did you say that when they move like this, that is the concentration of the mind? Or?
No, you can make it as you like. You can decide yourself how you want them to move.
Yes.
But if you're able to keep them still, that is the most difficult part. That is the most difficult part. This is just a little game which I want, just an introductory game to our topic here about the power of thought and the influence of the mind. So we have only like 5 minutes left. So let me quickly go to the next. Many of you know this probably, Masaru Emoto. He has found already, I don't know, 30, 40, it's I think at least 30 years ago, he found out the influence of consciousness on water. And he has done these wonderful experiments with water where he crystallized water and infusing it with different thoughts. And the crystals came out very differently. As you can see here, these are all wonderful crystals like thank you, beautiful shape, form, wisdom, truth, eternal, angel, I love you, peace, and then fool, you can see ones. So these are the negative ones. You fool, polluted, yeah, I can't see it fully, evil, and then polluted water, how polluted water looks like, you know. Before prayer and after prayer. This is polluted water in its pure form, and this polluted water, and it has been prayed on, and how it looked. And here, another interesting thing is also how you speak with others. That's the first thing to become aware of how we speak. You know, if you give somebody a command like do it, you know, it becomes very forceful. Then you see this is a structure, and understand our bodies are mostly made of water. So all our cells actually receive that input. And this is just the beginning. It's just, you know, yes.
That's why when we drink our water, we bring in the rivers.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yes.
We speak the names into that water. And
right. Yeah. Ideally, we can do that with every water which we drink. We can purify it. We can. I mean, even if we chant our prasad prayers before prasad, you know, that's then, and we offer it, of course, you know, all these things. But this shows really what an influence it does. Even such a small thing as let us do it. It's like an open invitation. Let's do it together and do it. Big difference. Okay. So I think we're going to stop here. We're like half through with what I have prepared here. It's not, the whole thing is not a slideshow. Especially when we get into, when we do exercises and all that, then it won't be a slideshow anymore. But there's still some material about the influence of thoughts. So the next topic would be influence of thoughts on ourselves, our own thoughts, especially limiting beliefs. You know, we have a lot of beliefs which are in our chitta, which we're not aware of. And this is what disturbs us, this is what creates problems. But we can't access it because we're not aware of it. But there are ways to change it. And of course we know from Vedic psychology the different ways to access sanskaras. There are also other ways, which we look at here, and we'll do some guided meditation next time to change these limiting beliefs. We'll analyze our own limiting beliefs, and then we'll analyze also how our thoughts influence others with exercises also. So if you're interested to continue these sessions, up to you. We could do that next week, if you like. Yep. Yeah? Okay. So then I would say, if anybody has any comments, questions, you are welcome. We have now exactly 6 o'clock. So I wanted to end on time, but you're welcome to share whatever you would like to share. Yeah.
That game from before. If it really would work, then I could move that table, and I cannot move that table. So that means that's an illusion.
No. See, that is... This is more difficult because these are solid, you know, it's a different level of... But you can influence your mind and another's mind. That is more subtle. So we'll start there. And then, you know, once we become very expert, then maybe we can try to levitate our tables. That will be the advanced class.
I just want to say you're not changing actually what's going on the screen. It's just your interpretation of the brain that you're influencing.
So you are not moving a table, and you are not moving this blue dot.
No.
Because everybody experiences them differently. You know, you see them differently, but it's not that if you change them, then everybody else sees it like you. Everybody sees it as they program their mind.
So it's an interpretation. Yeah. So it's not actually a mind power moving table thing.
It's your mind power, because by your mind power you see it. You program your mind, you program what you see, and then you decide how you want to see it, and that's how you perceive it.
Okay, I understand what you want to say.
I think it's a pattern of dots. So one pattern of dot appears and the other one disappears, and this is a play of the dots, and then each one is changing how to see one side or another side.
You see?
I don't know, because when Monica, for example, was saying now it is moving to the right and not to the, I saw it differently.
Yeah.
So it's not that there is a fixed
exactly.
pattern.
Yeah.
I don't know if the pattern changed, but
Everybody
at least we
sees
can see
it.
differently.
Everybody can see it according to their own mind, and that means your mind power can decide how you perceive it.
I think that the dots are the same, but we perceive it differently, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not like you said that the dots are changing. We see it differently.
But they are moving, yeah?
They are not moving, no. No, there is like, let's say there is a 12, 3, 6, 9, 4 dots. Okay, and the other ones, they are not visible. And then the 12, 3, 6, 9, they disappear and you see the other ones. It creates like a movement, but it is not moving. It's only some dots appear, some dots not disappear. And then you apply your mind moving, creating the movement to the right or the left. But they are not moving. It's only. You understand what I mean? Okay. Thank you.
But we'll leave the mystery here.
I
Close here.
Can I have a question about the water and the words? So, my point is not really about words, right?
No, it's about...
Because you can speak Japanese, you can speak French, the water would perceive, it's more how you said it. For example, if you say like, I hate you, it's like really
right.
like the hate that comes.
At the same time, every word has a power, an inherent power. And so even if you write a word and you put it on the bottle or whatever, that creates an influence. So both.
So even if I say do it, it's like an order, but I say it in a lovingly manner. Say, do it, or do it. No, just to see if
it would. Yeah.
Do it.
Yes. So your intention. Yeah.
Would it work with the water saying the order? Do it, but in a loving manner. Will it change in a positive thing?
The word itself. The terms itself have the inherent power, but then your intention, that also has. So both would make
the
an
intention
effect.
has more power than the word itself?
I don't know how, in percentage, that would be an experiment by itself. I assume that the intention has more power, because that is your direct, I assume so.
Maybe we can drink a glass of water and then we say bad words and then we go to the bathroom, it comes out dark, then it's a bad influence. We say loving words, it comes out clear.
With our gross eyes, you can't see it like that, but if you have a microscope, then... But you can try it, maybe it works for you. Okay, but I thank you very much. I'll close the session here, and if you like, we can meet
thank you.
In one...
Same time next week.
So thank you all the onliners, and see you next week if you like.